What's going on? Oh my gosh, here we are, my CEO squad. First of all, I love these women right here. One, because we force each other to do things out of our own will and control. Are we still recording?
It says it's still recording, yes.
Mine does not say record. It makes me very nervous. But I guess if it says it is on y'all's end, it is. Hey, you guys, this is a live podcast. We record live every single Monday. And we typically don't talk through the weekend except like small chat. Y'all have already heard that. We're not going to even open that can of worms because it's a very emotional topic. Yeah.
We talk about it every single week.
Yeah, we're not. I'm like not talking about it. Okay, so let's move on. But
welcome to our podcast. Hey guys, my name is Olivia Hayward.
What's up? It's your girl, Courage Molina.
Oh, it's Amber Likens, and this is my CEO Squad. Before you leave our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you never miss an upload. In the comments, let us know where you're tuning in from, and we cannot wait to get to know you more. Let's go ahead and start this conversation. But some major things happen on Friday, and sometimes you want to quit your life. Not your life. You want to actually quit a task or something that's happening. So this podcast is new, but let me just be clear with you. I don't know what we're going to talk about today, but whatever happens on this conversation, it's so meaningful. But I want to say we have conversations probably 15 times a day that are like a roller coaster conversation. We are on a high, we are on a low, we are going down, we are going up. Like we're on all of these like real life emotions, work, family, everything, like trauma, all the things. So we have conversations all the time. And for years, all three of us have been saying, if people could just hear this conversation, man, we should have recorded that. I'm going to go live on that today. Like, whatever that looks like for our community to hear, because we serve women that are entrepreneur women. That is just the bottom line. And it's sometimes really difficult for us to go, let's just press the record button and do that, because it feels like such this heavy task at hand. Because when we finish recording, we actually have to upload it to 2 platforms. Then we have to make a graphic, and then we have to do this, and then we got to promote it, right? Oh, well, how do we capture emails? Like all these things go through. It's not just, oh, it's a fun conversation, let it go. And so Olivia has her plate 110% full. It's like just like overflowing. So does Courage. And I guess I do too, right? I don't know. Okay. I really pretend like I don't. But Olivia really said something to us Friday, and she's like, I just don't know how you are going to feel about it. First of all, I was cooking something in the kitchen. She's like, I got to tell you, encourage something. And my heart just sank. I was like, oh my gosh, like something major is going on in your life. You really need to talk to us about it. This is really crazy. Okay. Well, Courage needs to answer. Like I immediately felt heavy, but then I was like, what is happening with you and your husband? I hate talking about our husband's names, but Greg, I don't know. Our husbands are not going to listen to this. I feel like they're going to, I don't know. I think it's weird when you talk like about somebody and they're not in the space and when you mention their name, but whatever. And then Courage answers the phone, and then Olivia shares with us that she's over it. She cannot do it anymore. And we basically were like, nope, you're not. Show up anyways. So we're here this morning, and if you're watching the video of this, it is on our YouTube channel, My CEO Squad. Follow that hashtag. But if you're listening to it, you probably feel some type of way as well. Like, oh my gosh, like support your friend. If she's done, let her be done. No, you wrong. We ain't. Okay. And we're going to speak on this because I feel like that's actually what needs to happen right now. We have so much in life happening, and so do you as a listener. And sometimes you go, I just want to quit, and I just can't do it all. And I cannot keep filling up my plate. I can't even get what I'm doing completed. And I feel sometimes like a hypocrite, because I'm like, yeah, you have to focus on one thing and grow it before you can add something else. But to be honest, we have done that. And we have grown our things, and they are working like machines, but we also no, they're not. They're not working like real perfect machines. Like, it's like, make the machine run. Oh, it's running. Cool. Let's just keep going with it and then add something else. But then we're like, nope, it's not perfect enough. Nope, it's not good enough. The oil, let's change the oil one more time. I think it could be better. that is where we're at. So let's speak on it. I opened up this can, and now I'm going to let y'all have it. How
I
do
think
you
we should
feel?
let Olivia. I think we should let Olivia start because, it was her desire to quit the podcast, which we completely vetoed and didn't accept. And so maybe you can share like what makes a person like you highly accomplished, hardworking, highly skilled, high functioning individual like yourself get to a place where you want to quit something we kind of had decided about. We waited a long time to start, and now we've started. And now a person like Olivia J. Hayward is like, bump this. I'm going to quit. And not just I'm going to quit what I've been doing, but I am going to quit a commitment that I made to two of my closest friends. Because I think that's what's really important. Like, I don't think people think we get here. I think people think that we just be doing it and it's always easy and we never struggle and those people are crazy people. But I think that people think that. So, what brought you to a place where you were like, I absolutely quit? I think that Olivia should share that first.
Well, first of all, I never quit anything. That's no problem. That's number one. So I think it was Thursday or Friday, one of those days. Maybe it was Friday. Just looking at my things that I needed to complete for the day, for the week, for the, so like, it's coming up. If you guys just to give you an idea of the time frame, it's coming up towards Black Friday, and so whenever you have businesses during Black Friday, it's like all of these things you want to do, right? And then when you have multiple businesses, you got to do all of those things for all of the businesses, right? And so just thinking about those things, just thinking about my task at hand, thinking about also, I get to a place, once Thanksgiving starts to hit, I don't know about other business owners, but you start to think about what your next year of business is going to look like, right? And that for me, I'm always starting to say, okay, what can I stop now? So in 2023, I'm living, you want to live better. You just want to live better. You want to live a better life. You want your businesses to do better. And I'm thinking, okay, what can I cut now or try to prune now so that is going to be the case for 2023. So all of those things were going through my mind, as a woman and as a business owner, your mind goes like, so fast, so rapidly. You're just thinking about all these little things. And so as I begin to think about those things, I'm like, also right in that moment, I was thinking about all of those things, right? Thanksgiving, Black Friday, businesses, working on these magazines that I got to do, working on just different projects that I needed to complete, or start or whatever, or want to get done. And then one of the tasks popped in my head, and it was like the most, one of the tasks popped in my head, and I just actually got angry. This is the thing, I actually, not angry, but I feel like I got so aggravated because I felt like, and I think I never feel like this, and I think that's why I was like, oh, this is weird feeling, because as Amber and Courage say, we work together all the time. We work together all the time, and we're always leaning on each other to help out with this, that, whatever, for each one of our businesses or whatever. Somebody need help with words. Somebody need me to build something or add something or product, whatever, make a video, whatever. We're always depending and leaning on each other for things like that. And so, which is totally fine. But in this moment, I felt like, because this podcast, Amber had asked me like maybe 2 times already, and I do not. First of all, as a person, like Kurt said, like high functioning, I do. The thing that gets me down the most is when I don't complete what I need to complete. I think that's what bothers me the most, because I am such a like on top of it person. So when I can't get something done, or I feel like I'm taking too long to get something done, internally that really like crushes me the most, right? And so whenever I was thinking about, oh, I need to do this thing, and she didn't ask me to do 2 times, I was like, this is my thought process is I need to do it right now, because if she asks me again, I'm gonna flip. And I'm like, why am I feeling like this? Because I actually said in my mind, if she asks me about this thing again, I am going to lose it. That's what I said. I'm gonna lose it. And I'm like, why do I feel like this? I was like, well, why do I feel like this? And then it started to, then I started to evaluate, okay, all these things I'm doing. Do we really need to be doing this? And I wasn't even thinking about just for my purpose. I was counting up what Amber does. I was counting up what Courage does. I'm like, we'll need to be doing this. We'll need to be doing this podcast. Like, we got too much going on. So I feel like it just came to a point where just adding up all of these things I had to do, I felt like this was the most nonsensical thing because, it's great. Obviously, we love to do it. This is a conversation that we have off camera all the time. So it just felt like, oh, let's do this thing. But I also think about the things that we do. Obviously, all of us are high achieving. We want to do it well. And one of the things that I was thinking about, because it wasn't even about the task this is the crazy part, because it wasn't even about the task that she was actually asking me to do. It wasn't even that, because that literally took me 2 seconds to do. That literally took me 2 seconds to do. But after I did that, I started thinking about everything else I needed to do for this, right? I wanted to make social media posts. I wanted to put the clips, it's like when you want to do something, and I know how stuff should be done, and just thinking about like all these things that I want to do, that's when I was like, okay, I'm quitting, because I want to do all of these things, and I just can't. I don't have time for this right now. I have other stuff to do that's more pressing and more important. So it's like, if I can't do that, I'm like all or nothing type of person. So it's like, if I can't give my all to it, quit it. Let's just be done with it. So I think that's where I was feeling and struggling with over the weekend. And it was kind of like a spin out of control moment where, you just have this list of pile of things to do, and you're like, okay, I'm about to eliminate some things. So I think that's really what it was. Yeah.
And let me say this in your defense too, right? There are a couple things that people don't know. One, Amber and I are very much alike. We are very intense. So it doesn't matter what the request is or when we actually need it. Every request is right now, and we bring that intense energy to every single request. Even if I have the time or whatever, if I get a request from Amber, she wants us to do something, it seems like, even if she's only asked me one time, it seemed like you asked me 10 times in that one time. And so I'm not like Olivia. I'm immediately annoyed, but I live in that space. And I know that I am just like that. Like I am not complaining about you, Amber, because I recognize I am exactly like that. We are twinsies. Every request that I make, it is, if you feel this intensity of like, I want it done right now, or we should do it right now, you feel like you have to do it right now. Even if you don't, it's because that is the energy we give, because that's exactly what we want. We want you to do it right now. It's not that we don't care about the other stuff that you have to do, but we don't care about the other stuff you have to do. We want you to do it right now. I think that's one thing that's really important. And two, I don't know if you agree with this, Olivia, you can correct me, but I feel like, and Amber, you can jump in. I feel like, for me anyway, let me not speak for Amber. I feel like, yes, we do kind of all work together, but I feel like the work that you do to support us is much more labor intensive. I feel like we are all equally leaned into helping and supporting one another. But I think that unfortunately, and we've said this before, I think that unfortunately, the skills that Amber and I bring to the table are not one that are needed for all three of us at the same level that we need your skill and your gifting. I think it's skewed that way, not intentionally, but just naturally. what I bring to the table, you don't need on a regular basis. You don't need on an ongoing basis. And a lot of times you do stuff by yourself, even to my annoyance when I read it. I'm like, nah, I know I ain't help with these words. But you can technically get the words done, right? So you will do that kind of thing by yourself. And so I think there is an added pressure to you to support the group, and you don't get the same type of support in kind or at the same like level. And I just want to say that for everybody, this is not like a tit for tat. I'm not saying I'm not apologizing. Let me be clear. I'm not apologizing because I cannot support Olivia at equal measure because I did not create myself. Like, I'm going to give her the best of what I have. I'm just saying that there are times in a group, in a squad, on a team where what you bring to the table, it might be the absolute best. Maybe nobody else in the group can do what you do, but depending on the project, it may not be as huge a piece of what you're trying to accomplish. And so I think that it's important for us to recognize that, not just you, Olivia, but I think that's important for us to recognize that you are giving at a different level and it requires more labor on your part. That's just the division of labor. It's not always equal, and I know people think that it has to be, but that's dumb because you don't have the skill set to support that. If you don't have the skill set to support it, you just can't. Do you know what I mean? So I think I wanted to make those two things. I got plenty to say, but I'm gonna let Amber get in. But I just wanted to say those two things, just like right out the gate, so that people understand what we're looking at here. Go ahead, Amber.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah, the first thing going through my head is when Olivia said this, I wanted to like immediately fix it. I'm like, oh my gosh, how can we fix this problem so she doesn't feel this way? So I want to just go, you know what? It doesn't matter. I just want to make it better. It's fine. I don't care about the graphic. I don't even care what people think that we look like and who created it. I don't care anymore. It is fine. They just need to hear our voice. And so I feel like as a business owner, you can go both ways with that, right? But honestly, we are not creating this podcast to go, where's the stream of income coming from? What are we doing? We are literally showing up just to share our experience and to allow you to have a space to connect with other women that are CEOs like yourself. And so this is, to be clear, Olivia from here on out is only showing up to record at 9 a.m. on Monday. And when we end at 10, she is done with the podcast. I release her of all duties. But Olivia, this is what happens. She's so good. She's so good. And behind our back, she will tweak things and we won't even know she's doing it. She'll be like, ugh, they put that out there? No, that ain't good. She'll be playing with stuff, fixing stuff. And we'll be like, oh, how'd that change? She'll be like, yeah, 3 weeks ago, I fixed that for y'all. And we didn't even know it. So Olivia she does have a skill set that is totally different than us. And I appreciate everything Olivia does to make us look really amazing online. I even asked her before we hit record, which I'm feeling some type of way about. But and again, Courage said it very well. We are like a right now person is how it comes out. But I also need to be told no. Right now, can I help you? Google will help you. I was like, listen, I have some tech things I need to get some help with just to like figure out, make sure I don't mess this up. If you can help me, but I have started in my head going, when is it good for Olivia? So I will ask, when is a good time for you? Today. Any hour today? Be great. Oh, 5. Okay, I will show up at 5. She's like, after we end recording, I can help you with that. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So, but we also, I think sometimes I don't know what this is about us, but even if we don't have the time, we actually genuinely want to help each other because we understand we actually can figure this out in probably 5 minutes. And for you, it's going to take you 2 hours. pictures. So let me just help you before it takes you forever, right? Even though it does slow that other person down from getting their task done. So I will have to say, for the three of us, I do really love and appreciate that. Sometimes I don't feel like I bring anything to the table. I'm just like a voice and a face. I'm like, what do I actually do in my life? Y'all never call me for help. Okay. Olivia said, take some pictures, make a post. Like, I was like, I'll even do all the videos for the emails, like whatever needs to happen. I'll record those today. I really try to fix it. I try to be a fixer, but that doesn't always happen because I'm not really good at fixing all the things. I can make a video for you and make it flawless and edit that and put it out there and publish it for sure. Okay?
You can.
Make it convert in 2 seconds. But I just have to say, I really do want to like not have any of us stress. I don't want any of us to have problems or issues, but it is like so.
I think it's that time of year for us too. Like, I'm just thinking back, Queen of Recap, that's what they call me. I'm just thinking about back to this time last year and this time the year before that. I don't know if you guys remember it, but this is where we always are come October, November. Last year, y'all hated me. Do you remember? Y'all were so annoyed. Yes, because I broke down what y'all needed to do every single week for like the last 6 weeks or 12 weeks of the year. And they were like, oh my God, we cannot do this. I'm like, you hate me now. You will thank me later. This is what it takes. Like, I think we just get here at the end of the year. This is a very busy time of year for all of us. We are always doing a launch, crazy launches. We are always making offers this time of year. And at the same time, we also like, we love our families and we love to have time off and we love the holidays and we want to just be able to hang out and go and do things. So it's like, how can we get all of those things done and have a vacation that is actually going to be enjoyable? And for the record, we all work during vacation. We may not be like, and we just do because we love what we do. We say we're not going to work. When we tell y'all we're not working, we are lying. What we actually really mean is that we may not be working on like client work. We may not be coaching over that time, but we are planning, organizing, revising, reflecting, figuring out what we're going to do, what we want to do, what didn't work last year. I think some of the lessons that I can hear that we need to be reminded of as a squad, and maybe you also, is that there are strategies that keep us in line all year long. I have no idea why at the end of the year we act like this is our first year in business. I literally have no idea, right? Because there are things that we do. One, we map out what the tasks are and what the steps are. We put them on a calendar. We know when we're available and when we're not. We know what we're supposed to be doing day in and day out, what tasks needs to be done for the end of the week. Somehow October comes and we all become freaking morons with no planner, no schedule, no task. And at the time where we have no time at all, we're like, oh, you know what we should do? We should start something brand new. No, you lunatic, you shouldn't, right? Like I don't know what happens. This is the third year but I've just kind of, and maybe it's been going on for longer, but it's the third year that I can see this as a constant pattern for us where we kind of back ourselves into this space. And so I think this is just a good reminder for us as that we finish out the year to really get back to the basics. I want to encourage the listeners, and I'm going to do all the work so that I can drop this so that we can kind of like, look at me making plans on this live recording. That's going to require work for everybody. I think it would be really great if we dropped everything so that on this Friday, which would be Black Friday, this drops, because I think what we're talking about would not be helpful for weeks. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
are we going to move this recording up and then everything else behind, or we're dropping all of them?
I think I don't know. We'll have to definitely see what can be done. But just like
y'all see what they do.
Right. This is what we do.
Right? We OD. Can I say something too? When you were like, we are not.
It's because we love our people, though. Like, what makes me think we should hurry up and do it is because this is not going to help you if you don't get this till December midweek. Like, you need to hear this this week. Because I want you to do as soon as possible as a listener what I'm going to make us do today. So go ahead, Amber.
Well, when you were saying when we're off, like we're not really off, we're still doing things, you're 100% right. And let me just tell you how this is how sick our brains work. And it's funny because if I brought this up in counseling, she'd be like, don't use these words. But so our brains are not sick. They're very healthy brains. But I watch a movie or a series or some type of show or commercial, and I am so energized and an idea comes to my head and I have to act on it. That my brain does not stop. Courage is the same way. Olivia's the same way. We do all this. We're like, oh yeah, I was watching this and this is my idea. This is what we're going to do. And so then we have like this 30, 45-minute conversation about this plan. And we're like, oh, that's good. Okay, well, when we get to work tomorrow, let's go ahead and work on that. Like it is wild. And sometimes it's in the moment. We're like, let's do it right now. And so to be honest, if you run a business, small or this huge corporation, and your brain does not operate like that, I don't understand how it can't, unless you just have people that do that for you in place, right? I have no idea. But also, we are all small business owners. And that is just, when you love so much that you do, it oozes through your pores constantly. My kids can be having a conversation about something. First of all, my kids are always reminding me that I'm the boss. So it makes my head real big. I'm like, you know what? I am. I'm about to make something new. Let's go. I'm about to do X, Y, Z. And we just constantly are inspiring one another by what each of us are doing in our own businesses, in our own life. And so that's natural where you're like, I want to do something like that or incorporate this but it really comes from our community. And I think that this is the place of I think we are better at it than we give ourselves credit for, but all three of us are not no people, right? We're not like, no, only to certain things. There are definitely categories where we are no people, but when our people ask for something, we're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let me figure out how I can do that for you, right? Like we want to incorporate these things. And so when people are asking, obviously that's what matters because that's who we serve. So I don't know what y'all want to say about that, but I don't think I'm a yes person all the time, only to certain things. And I don't think that's a bad quality to have. Also, I know the listeners probably thinking, also, why don't y'all delegate? Why don't you hire out on your team? Well, we do, and we have, and we currently do. So, I mean, I don't think there's an easy fix.
It's also not as easy as you think to find somebody and train like child. That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. And the budget for your business and how it operates. Like you can't just go, yes, let me hire these people. These people need a consistent paycheck and a salary. So you also have to think like, can my business operate? Can it afford that? If it can, is that the place where my money needs to be spent? So it just really, there's a lot of pros and cons and it's just wild, right? But the main thing is have your friends back. Take things off her plate. If your friend says I'm done, ask her why and be like, you're not. You have to push your people too, right? You can't just let your people give up on things. Don't give up, Olivia.
I also think that we are very extreme. Why are you laughing, Olivia?
Because she like push her people. Don't let them stop. I'm like, oh my God.
I think it's important for us to like, let us say this, right? When we say yes, even though like we are quick, we are very decisive in those things. I think that we kind of do naturally go through does this work for us? Is this in the best interest of our business? Is this in the best interest of our people? I don't think that we say yes to new things very fast. Maybe we do in the squad circle, we might be like, yeah, let's do it. But we will stomp your dreams in this group if what you are saying yes to is outside of what you said you wanted to do, if it's not really going to work, if it's not in alignment with your brand and what you say. Like, we're not just going to let the other person say yes. I can come to this group and be like, oh my gosh, I have this great idea. I'm going to start doing this. And Olivia's like, no, you're not. When I tell you Olivia will piss in a bowl of Cheerios, honey, I'm trying to tell you, we will shut it down. We will say absolutely no. So I think that once we get to a place where it's finally a yes, like where the group, the squad has approved your decision to expand, to pivot, to whatever, right? Or at least they've asked you the questions. I think then we say yes because we've all come to the group. And because we have a great idea, and the other people are like, no, No, you're not about to do that. We not doing that. You're not doing that. When you're gonna do it? We want to know, when do you have time? I want to see your schedule. I'm like, what are you gonna do with your kids? What you gonna do with your husband? No, sight. We're not doing it. I think that once we get to a place where it's yes and we are doing it, I think then that's when we're like, okay, are we really quitting?
Right.
And I think you can't have that. Like, I know that I used to be this way. I feel like I'm getting much better. I used to be a very all or nothing. But my question that I'm asking myself now is this in alignment with what I'm trying to do? Right. And at what level can I do this where my people can be served? That's
Yeah.
it. Not can I do it at the highest possible level? Because sometimes y'all are waiting on perfection. Sometimes, because I want to be clear, like some people think they're listening and they acting like they us, but they not us. So I don't want y'all to think like, oh, see, I should be waiting on perfection. That's not what we're talking about. We are
Yeah.
showing up in so many spaces. We're saying, can I do this in a way that's going to serve my people? And if the answer to that is yes, even if it cannot be at this highest level that I think it should be, that how I think it should look, am I able to adjust my own expectations so that my people can be served? And if somebody is starving, they don't need you to wait until you have China. People who are starving will eat off a paper plate. So is there a paper plate version that is going to allow my people to be fed, right, in this season? Maybe I can bring out China in the next season, but in this season, these folks going to have to eat off of paper plates. They're going to have to use plastic silverware so that they can be fed. But I think that the three of us, Olivia especially, lives in a, finest China dipped in 4K, 12,000 people place setting, cloth napkins, custom napkin holders world, right? I think that is where she lives, which is great. But sometimes that means she will refuse to give a paper plate blessing. And I think that in this season, this is a paper plate blessing. So y'all might not have an IG to follow. We might not have a way to get your email. Like all of those things might not be happening. The graphic might not be changing every time on the podcast. But if you are here to eat, you can get fed. Period. And that's the best we can do. The best we can do in this season and this thing is feed you. And so I want you to ask yourself that over the next week, like, how can I continue to serve my people? Maybe not at like 5-star, but maybe this is like, the best I can do is a paper plate. Sometimes you're eating a hot dog on a napkin. Sometimes you ain't even got no napkin. You're just eating these kids out here eating hot dogs with their dirty hands. These little kids are not like, oh my gosh, I didn't get a China or a to-go box. They just are hungry. They want to be fed. And so that's what we're doing in this space. So we are not apologizing that we don't have China. We're not this is why you should be following us anyway. We don't need to promote this all the time. If you subscribe, if you opened up the dang emails, if you were following us on Instagram separately, right, then you would know how you could get fed. And those are the people we're feeding. We're feeding our community. And if new people happen to find us, great. This is just not a season where we can go out and find the hungry. This is a season where we're going to serve the hungry who are sitting at our table right now. And those are the people who are leaned in and engaged with our content. And if they tell a friend to tell a friend, then they can find us because we'll be here serving them. But that's the best we got. And for those who are starving, this is good for them. So that's where I'm at.
I first of all, I love a great analogy. Love that. That right there hit home. Second, I love paperware. I never want to wash another dish in my life. So I'm good to serve y'all on that.
For the record, I do not serve my husband on paper plates and not at a barbecue, not at a family thing. I don't care if we have paper plates. I am not serving my husband on a paper plate. I'm not doing it. Just so y'all know, not me.
Well, we're not comparing wives to wives, but yes, I'm with you. I love that. But then somebody else can wash that dish because I just cannot do it. No, I don't want to talk about this, but there is something I want to be public about sooner than later about dishwashers. That's it. That's all I got to say. I've been living a crazy life for years. But anyways, thirdly was my point. We've already been asked about somebody asked us, can we be on your podcast? We don't even promote we got guests. I'm like, and I just immediately was like, wow. And it has nothing to do with like this podcast, like my CEO squad. It's because of what we do individually, right? It's impressive to whomever that they're like, I want to be a part of the conversation because, again, women that are a part of our communities run businesses, right? They have their companies and all the things. So I think it's just a conversation women want to be a part of. I don't know if we'll ever have guests, to be honest with you. We'll tell y'all if we ever decide that. But I just think it just goes to show where I don't know what my point was with that, but obviously people take us seriously. I feel like squirrel right now. I just got sidetracked with dishes and paperware. I could not.
I think the point you're making is that even without us doing all the things, we're still making headway.
Yeah,
even
you see how three of us compliment each other? Thank you, Courage, for filling up.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
So good. Yeah, you're right.
Gosh.
This was a really good conversation. I mean, I think we're done with this. This was it. This is what y'all need
Oh, no,
to
we're
hear.
not done. I'm going to issue a challenge.
Oh, God.
This is what we're doing. This is what we're going to do. And so I want y'all to do it. Listeners, I want y'all to do it.
Wait. Whoa. Do y'all hear who the Bossy Pants is? That's all I'm going to say. Go ahead. Okay.
Well, this is my skill set here. This is what I bring to the table.
Okay.
I don't get tapped in till the end of the year, but let's do it. What we're gonna do today, and what y'all need to do if you're listening to this podcast, is we literally need to brain dump for every piece of brand and product and service that we have. So like I'll do it for Courageous Discipleship, I'll do it for the membership, for the church, for the podcast, for this podcast, for the Bible City Gods, like all the things, because I got a lot of things, all the things that I have going on, making a list under those things of exactly what needs to be done in order for me to feel good going into the new year, just things that I need to close out. And what are some things that maybe we chose this date and we chose it for 2022, but real talk, it's just kind of arbitrary. It doesn't have to come out now, that we can reschedule to come out in the coming year. What are some of those things that we can do to literally just finish well? Not all of the things that you would like to do, but like, okay, realistically, how many podcast episodes do we need to record? If we have individual podcasts, how many videos do we need to record or repurpose or edit or whatever, just to get us through the end of the year? Because what we're looking at is like, you got 4 weeks in December and a couple weeks now. So like 6 weeks. What are the things that absolutely must get done, right, for you to feel good going into the new year? And if that means that you're not working the last 3 weeks of the new year, or of this year, then that means like, okay, what are the things I need to get done in the next 3 weeks so that I can enjoy my vacation, or so that I can focus on the things that I want to focus on, and then schedule those out and work from your weekly list. It'll probably take you about an hour to do, but it is going to allow you to move so much more effective and efficiently. And you may hate me, as they do, for those 3 weeks because of all the work that you have to do, but it's the thing that's going to give you your time back. It's going to give you your mind space back and your confidence. Because if you're like us, and I think that we are like Olivia, Amber and I, like the three of us are alike in this way, we are so demotivated when we are not getting our crap done. We feel like crap. We do not feel like, oh, it's fine. We feel like I suck at my entire life. I'm quitting all the things. I can't accomplish anything. I've never accomplished anything in my life.
That's 100%. When I can't get my stuff done, I don't want to do it. It's like that's how I know. It's like that's the worst, because like if I cannot get my stuff down, I just want it done. I just want to quit everything. I just want to be like, it's like all or nothing. It's like, it's like I get very just lethargic when it comes to, if I feel like, oh, I'm not meeting this deadline, or, oh, I'm not going to be able to get this done, or it's just not right, or something like that. Also because one of the things that I struggle with a lot too, because I am a creative and I'm always creating things and making things and whatever. If my brain is too bogged down with just junk and stuff that I gotta do, it is hard to be creative in that space. So it's like, I just you just get lethargic. Like, you don't want to do anything because it's not happening the way you want it to happen, or you're not getting stuff done because you feel like you got too much and you just aren't able to be creative in that way. So I think it's so important to know exactly what things that you want to accomplish and be realistic, like be super realistic when you're making these lists, because it's so easy to be like, oh, I want to do all these things, like, oh gosh, stop.
Yeah, it really is. So that's the challenge, that you would write down all the things that you need to get done, or that you feel like you need to get done, that you would prioritize them, and that you would cross off anything that you just kind of made up in your head, like, oh, I want to get 4 Bible study guides done. Okay, that's great. But all you really need to get done is maybe 1. Maybe you don't need all 4 to be available. Maybe you just need 1 available and just work with that. And then in January, you can bust out the rest, right? If that makes sense for you. Yeah, and we'd love to see what you guys are doing. You can use the hashtag MyCEOSquad. Yep. We're following that hashtag on Instagram. We can search that hashtag on Facebook. So just use that hashtag.
And
YouTube. Yep. And on YouTube, because we want to see who's in the community. For right now, the way that you're in our community is by following us on those social media platforms and engaging with the content, sharing, sliding our DMs, dropping in our comments how much you appreciate this work that we're doing and how it's helping you, because we'd love to hear from you. We could use some encouragement over the holiday season so we don't quit. And then I'm like, oh my God, they were so good. Why'd they quit? Because you never told us we was good. That's why.
Facts. All right. Well, that was an amazing episode. Yes, and with that being said, we're going to leave y'all to it. So make sure you use hashtag MyCEOSquad on those platforms. YouTube uploads are happening every single Friday. And then on the podcast platform, those uploads are happening every single Friday. So check those out. And we hope that you are feeling blessed by this, and y'all are amazing. And hopefully we speed this up to get this launched. And then y'all will hear other episodes to follow, because we are batched out, which I like that life. Okay. So we're going to have a talk about that off camera. But at Courage's request, she wants you to have this Friday. So, all right. Well, y'all are amazing. Give this a 5-star rating. Check out the descriptions and show notes, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.